talk about Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, prophesizing the coming of Muhammad, peace be upon him, the final prophet and messenger. So, Sheikh, if you could please just take the stage and kick the knowledge.
Right. Well, Prophet Isa, Jesus, the son of Mary, as Prophet Moses did, he had to give the bad tidings and the good news of what's coming afterwards.
Right.
For people, whenever the messenger would come, they would realize him, they would get to know him with his attributes, with the signs that the previous prophet had mentioned of him. And that's why the people at the time of Prophet Muhammad, before he was sent, they were waiting for him. They were waiting for him, and many of the Jews came to Al-Madinah, the city of the Prophet ﷺ. They came from the north, and the Christian world even were waiting for this. And that's why it's mentioned in the books of the Jews and Christians, the name of Prophet Muhammad. As it's mentioned in the Quran, his name is Ahmad, and Muhammad was mentioned. But with the distortions of translations and so on and so forth, this can be distorted. But in Aramaic, in the language that Jesus spoke and so on, the name Muhammad was mentioned, the name Ahmad was mentioned. And many of the scholars in this, they would even quote the verses and so on. And I would ask people also to refer to some of these debates that people, like for example, the debate of Ahmad and others, they mention these things in specific. Right. So he mentioned. So
they highlight biblical verses,
right,
talking about Muhammad, peace be upon him, coming.
Right. And Prophet Muhammad, being the messenger, he did not call people to worship him or to give him any divine nature.
No, of course not.
He called people to worship the creator of the heavens and the earth alone. And he said, I'm nothing but a slave of Allah, slave of God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and a messenger, confirming what was the messages before. And this by itself is the greatest sign ever. Because someone come with the same message, calling people to the same thing. So for someone to become a Muslim, he's not changing his religion. He's not denying Jesus, peace be upon him. He's following the same religion.
He's following him, and he's affirming his prophethood, because it was denied by the people, most of the people that Jesus was sent to. So the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was rejected and denied by the Jews of Medina, right? And they did this on two reasons, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. They rejected him because of his race, because he wasn't from the Bani Israel. He didn't descend from Jacob. He came from the lineage of Ishmael or Ismail, peace be upon him, and also because he affirmed the teachings of Christ. He said, you need to believe in the Messiah. Muhammad was telling them that you need to believe in the Messiah, but they weren't about to have that because they don't believe in the Messiah.
Right. And that's why when it comes to the believing of the messengers, and when the Prophet ﷺ was sent, there's a verse in the Quran that says that وَإِنَّ أَوْإِيَّاكُمْ لَعَلَى هُدًى أَوْ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ, but also says قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدٌ فَأَنَا أَبُو الْعَابِدِينَ. Say, O Muhammad, peace be upon him, if there was a son for the most gracious, I will be the first to worship him. But there's no evidence. It's not a matter of being convinced logically.
So can you say that again?
The verse says, say, O Muhammad, if there was a son, to God, to the most gracious,
if God had a son,
I would be the first to worship.
Muhammad would be the first one to worship him. But that's not the case.
That's not the case, because there's no evidence whatsoever. Something like that has to be done from the very beginning of the creation of Adam. Not something that all of a sudden people discovered or a messenger was sent by this. What was Ibrahim worshipping? Abraham, was he worshipping the not true God, for example? He didn't know the nature of God, that all of a sudden things changed. And the other thing is
please.
The other thing is, when it comes to this, basically, it's the religion of all the prophets. When they were calling the people to worship, they called you to worship God alone. So Jesus, peace be upon him.
So nobody was calling anybody to worship Christ, but rather Jesus, when he was born and came into existence, called people to worship the one who caused his existence.
And something so basic, supposed to be so basic, has to be something so explicitly mentioned, even in the books today. But it's never mentioned explicitly. It's always implicit.
It's implicit or it's ambiguous.
And you can't have a basic belief like this, and it's ambiguous.
And that's one of the general principles in Islam, that the nature of God, in order to believe in him the right way, it needs to be literal. That he is one and that's it.
Can I say an example?
Oh, please, please.
If we take someone...
You are the show today. You are the show today, Sheikh.
Say, for example, and I hope that the example is clear,
yes.
that if somebody living in a desert or a jungle,
if somebody's living in the desert,
never been influenced by any other human being, right? Lived his life, grown till he has some intellect and ability to think, without any influence. No religion, no nothing.
So he didn't come in contact with anybody.
Nobody.
He's by himself.
Right. And then you have two people coming to introduce their concept of religion.
Right.
Someone would tell him, you know, there's God, but he has a son and the Trinity and all this concept of Christianity. And someone else would tell him, listen, all of what you see is the creation of the creator of the heavens and the earth.
Right.
Worship him alone, do not associate partners with him. Which one that person would take that fits his nature?
I know which one I would take.
Right, but I mean, even for each and every human being, this is something that should be so clear.
Right.
Religion has to be so easy and simple. Does not a PhD in need a PhD in philosophy.
Exactly.
For a person.
God is not the author of confusion.
Right. God is one. He's the creator of heaven and earth. Worship him alone. Nothing is the like of him. He's the most perfect. This is the concept of God in Islam, and this is what fits the nature of the messengers, human beings, but the best of all human beings. They were sent with that message, and that is worship the creator of the heavens and earth.
There you have it, folks. Islam, submission, surrender to God. And by doing so, you attain peace in your heart. Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, came with the message of Islam. Surrender, submit oneself to the creator of all existence. And it's such a God's message is going to be logical, and it is going to make complete sense every time that his message is revealed to his creation. It is not going to be left to conjecture, you know, maybe this, maybe that. It is going to be in stone that this is how it is. And it makes complete sense, complete logical sense that there is a creator. He is one. There is a one creator, rather than saying that there is no creator and everything happened by accident, as the atheists would say.
Right.
It's logical to say that there is design, and therefore there is a designer. Like one of the fathers of logic said, Plato. You know, he said, well, there's design, there's a designer. There's design everywhere. We talked about the laws.
Actually, there's a verse in the Quran.
Yeah.
It's an amazing one.
Yeah.
It says, أَخُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ.
Yeah, I think I know this one. Is this the one? If they
Are they
are they
created?
Are they created or from nothing?
From nothing?
Yeah.
Or are they the creators?
Are they created from nothing, or are they the creators themselves?
Right. Because we're created, right?
Right.
So either we are the creators, which is nobody would ever say that,
right,
or we're created from nothing. But nothing does not create anything. That means what?
Right. That means that
there's a creator.
Right.
If you say other than this,
yeah,
with all due respect, but you're basically saying things.
It may take a little bit for people to wrap their minds around this verse, because
it's very powerful.
Because he presents two questions, and the answer is not in the verse.
Right. And the answer is left for you to answer.
Exactly. So what's that verse? Say that verse again in English for us.
In Arabic it says, which means, are they created? Khuluqu means created.
Are the people, are mankind created
from nothing, or are they the creators?
Or did we create ourselves? That's impossible.
Choose one or the other.
Neither.
You cannot have a third choice. Right? You cannot have a third choice because we are creation. We're created. So nothing does not create anything. Right. It's nothing. Right. So we have to have a creator.
Right. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. You're listening to Go Path Radio with the Sheikh and the mic. We'll be back.
أفمن شرح الله صدره للإسلام فهو على نور من ربه فويل للقاسية قلوبهم من ذكر الله